All right, are we good? Are we live? I think we are. Hello all and welcome back to the Women's Football Chat Live. We're back for a double dose of WSL action this Sunday and we kick off with a quadruple header. As always on a Sunday morning, we'll be focusing our attention though on the game between Liverpool and Chelsea, what is soon to be a very exciting matchup. Two sides are very polarising ends of the table with the team in third taking on the side in 11th. But that doesn't really tell the full story. Chelsea in a bit of a, poor run of late. Losses to Arsenal and Manchester City have seen them fall well out of the title race in probably their worst spell in years. As for Liverpool, well, they started the season horribly, but a win last week finally, for the first time this campaign, saw them rise off the bottom of the table, and they're one of the most informed sides in the league since the start of 2026. So this should be a bit of a closer contest than we would have expected perhaps earlier in the season. In fact, this game in the League Cup earlier in the season was a 9-1 win for Chelsea. Now, Chelsea will be looking to replicate that again. Whether or not that is possible, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued to see what Chelsea look like today. I thought the performance against Tottenham was a lot stronger. I think the fluidity Chelsea are trying to get into the final third is very interesting. But no Millie Bright today is going to be interesting to see how Chelsea handle that defensively. It's not necessarily a terrible thing, but Chelsea don't have many fit defenders right now. And it's a very aggressive back four that Bon Pastor has gone for today in the absence of captain Millie Bright. So that's going to be really interesting to see what they do there. And Liverpool's attack does look incredibly strong. They've looked sharp in the last few weeks, and they've just got quality, really, across that attacking line. Let's start with the lineups then. So we are at Kingsmeadow. Today we'll start with the Chelsea team. A 4-3-3, as we've seen for Chelsea in the last few weeks, as follows. In goal, Hannah Hampton between the sticks obviously keeps her starting berth. In the back four, Carpenter and Baltimore, the fullbacks, with a partnership of Germer and Villa Berman. In the midfield three, then, Walsh will be that pivot player with the midfield ahead of her of Cuthbert and Sjokke Nusken. On one wing, it's going to be Kyle Reid. On the other, Alyssa Thompson. And in that striker position, dropping deep at times, it's Lauren James. Now, this was really interesting to watch what we saw against Tottenham, because early on the same issues were prevalent for Chelsea. Build-up didn't really work, and I think what the best thing that Chelsea did was a small tweak, and that was having Villa Berman, the left back, tucking in rather than bombing on. Now that's going to be different today for Chelsea because both the fullbacks are going to be pushing forwards, and it's going to be interesting what Chelsea do. Now, presumably they will drop Walsh and she will split the centre halves and they'll look to build up that way. That seems to be the way Chelsea were trying to do things in that game. It didn't really work. Whether or not that's successful today is going to be really important in terms of how high the wing backs are. That's going to be important to Chelsea's success, but also how high that midfield pivot was. So in the early stages against Tottenham, the wing backs were pushing high. The wingers were tucking in. You had James and then Nusken and Cuthbert were pushing up. And you left this isolated diamond, really, of Hampton coming for, obviously getting involved in the build-up. The split centre-halves of Germer and Villa Berman, and Walsh then sitting in the pivot. And you had that diamond, and Chelsea were really struggling to progress the ball and find those attacking players. The big tweak they made was they pushed Villa Berman into that back three, into a situational back three. They looked to build up then with Germer as pushing almost to a right-back position. They had that asymmetrical back three with Hampton then involved in build-up as well, and Walsh dropping deep, and that gave them a few more options in their first third to play through the Tottenham press on that day. What's going to be interesting today is how they solve those tactical issues, because you're not going to have the same personnel available. I think that setup worked really nicely. It was sort of the opposite or the same as what Chelsea did last season, but on the opposite side. Last season, the right back tucked in, the left winger pushed forward, or the left back pushed forward to left wing. Last week, what we saw was the left back tucking in, the right back pushing forward to the right-hand side. But it's going to be interesting because Baltimore's not tucking in, Carpenter's not tucking in. So they're going to provide the width today. How that relationship between Carpenter and Kyle Reid works can be interesting because that wasn't particularly functional against Tottenham. How the relationship between Baltimore and Thompson works is going to be interesting because we've not really seen that one work just yet. So the clashes in wide areas are going to be really interesting for me. Presumably Nusken and James' relationship will be very similar to how it was in the Tottenham game, where we would see one of the two drop into midfield to receive the ball and the other one pushing forward into that striker role. And a few times we saw James from the sort of natural striker position dropping deep, and that creates one or two things. Either she gets that opportunity to receive the ball or she drags Koga out of space because she was following. And the same will happen with Liverpool today. That will be a decision to make. If James will play as that striker and the Liverpool centre-halves have got to decide whether they're letting Lauren James go free or whether they go and chase her. And that creates then the pocket of space in behind for players like Alyssa Thompson, who can make the run off the shoulder, for players like Sjoeke Nusken, who can make the run off the shoulder. I think we best saw this executed for the second goal in the game against Tottenham, when Nusken made that run in behind. She took aim, it was saved, it fell to Thompson, they scored. Chelsea are looking now to generate those artificial transitions. And this is why when we look at the live chat and Advita asking Sam Kerr bench because Sonia cares more about our possession than accommodating superstars. She's just like Arteta. Not even remotely true. Sam Kerr is benched today because she doesn't fulfil the in-possession function. And, you know, I think Sam Kerr's a world-class footballer. I think in the big games this season where we're going to see, or even in games where against the lower sides in the league where teams drop really deep, Sam Kerr's great. She's a fantastic box presence. But against Tottenham last week, you play a high line, and against Liverpool this week, you play a high line. There is space to exploit in behind. Now, Liverpool may drop deeper, and Chelsea therefore may need to adjust as this game goes on, and maybe Kerr comes in, adds that box presence, and changes the dynamic of the game. But at the moment, the way that Chelsea are going to look to function in the early phases, I don't see Kerr fitting in. So James dropping deep, almost vacating the striker position, allows then runners to make those runs in behind, makes it much more difficult for the centre-halves to deal with Chelsea. Let's get to the visiting team then. Liverpool with the 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 that's been working really well recently. In goal, it's Jennifer Falk, who's come in and been a breath of fresh air between the sticks for Liverpool. In the back four, Shimizu, Clark, Fisk and Bernabé, the same back four they used last weekend. Then in the pivot, it's Nagano alongside Denise O'Sullivan, with Kapox playing that 10 role. On one wing, it is Bergstrom. On the other, Holland. And leading the line, it's Martha Thomas. Now, Liverpool have been fantastic to start 2026, most notably their performance last weekend. Steamrolled an Aston Villa side who have actually been really good this year. I mean, Villa gave Man City a really good game for half an hour and then completely fell apart. They were really strong against Chelsea. Chelsea narrowly won that match. They got a result against Arsenal. They beat Manchester United. So Villa are mixing it with the top sides. Their form's been very all over the place though, and Liverpool really took advantage of that last week. We saw them dominate that game of football. They were so quick on the break. They knew the weakness on Villa's right-hand side, where they didn't have Lynn Wilms in the game in this match. So what was happening was the right wing back was pushing forward, the right centre half couldn't cover across quick enough, and what Liverpool were doing really effectively was pinning Kerry Holland on that side, looking to find her down the line, looking to play those tidy combinations to get her into that space, and then exploiting that weakness. Now this is important when we think about the context of today's game, because Chelsea do have fullbacks who are going to push high. And I think Liverpool will look to hurt Chelsea in the same way they did against Aston Villa, because they've got two wingers who want to hold the width well. And if they can pin Bergstrom, and they can use, Bergstrom and Holland to pin back the fullbacks, again, you do one of two things. You either push Chelsea's backline very deep, or Chelsea push their fullbacks high and you create that space in behind. Now, I do think Liverpool will be a little bit more conservative in this match, and I think we'll see them tucking in a bit narrower than we did against Aston Villa. Against Aston Villa, they wanted to be the aggressors, they wanted to play on the front foot, and they got rewards from that. What we saw last night is when you try and do that, Friday night, when Leicester City tried to do that against Man City, they got torn apart. And I think Liverpool will feel the same way going into this Chelsea game. They won't want to try and be the aggressors because it's very difficult to be the aggressors against Chelsea. They will punish you if you're too positive in your play. And Liverpool got a result earlier this season against Chelsea in the WSL by playing very defensively, springing then and exploiting Chelsea's transitional threat or lack of strength in defensive transition, and they got goals because of that. So I think that's what Liverpool look to do today. They'll look to be very narrow, very compact in defensive areas. They're going to look to spring Martha Thomas in behind. They're going to look to get the wingers out early. I think especially when we think about corners, we're going to see the goalkeeper get the ball and look wide and look for those wingers, try and pin them out quickly. When attacks break down, looking wide quickly. And I think that's how Liverpool could get something today. It's going to be interesting. Chelsea were much better last weekend against Tottenham. If they find that level again from about the first 30 minutes was really poor, there was a slight tweak, it worked. Chelsea have got to solve the same issue today, but a lot earlier in the game, hopefully from the off. If they play like they did in the first 30 minutes, Liverpool could absolutely, I think Chelsea are there for the taking today, and Liverpool could absolutely get a result. If Chelsea play like they did from the 30th minute onwards, they'll win this game quite comfortably. So it's a bit of a juxtaposition at the moment with Chelsea because their performances are so inconsistent. You don't know what Chelsea side is going to turn up. And we've seen that throughout this season, really. There's been games like the Barcelona match at Stamford Bridge where Chelsea were considerably better on that day. Probably deserved to win. They had a goal disallowed, which was a little bit of a harsh decision. But then they've also had performances like Man City and they lost 5-1. They've also had performances like Arsenal when they lost 2-0. And yeah, they didn't take their chances that day, but they were very poor defensively. So you don't really know what you're going to get from a Chelsea team. And it does feel going into this game, I have no idea how this game is going to pan out, which does bode well for predictions. Let's get into scoreline predictions then. If you're watching along to the show, get involved in the live chat. Let me know your scoreline predictions. I've got no Harry to turn to today, so I will start the predictions on this show. I'm going to go for Chelsea 3, Liverpool 1. I think Chelsea will step up the performance level again from what we saw against Tottenham. But I do think they're a little vulnerable in transition. And I think with two fullbacks who are, you've got a natural winger in Sondy Baltimore, you've got a very aggressive attacking fullback in Ellie Carpenter. I do just think Chelsea are going to be a little bit open to transitions today. I think Liverpool are a very direct, or can be a very direct team. And we saw that in the reverse fixture earlier this season. So I think they will get a goal today, but I think Chelsea will be the better side and will be able to get the result. So I'll say 3-1 Chelsea. In terms of goal scorers, I'm going to say Martha Thomas for Liverpool, very similar to the way Beta Olsen scored for Liverpool against Chelsea earlier this season, same sort of situation. As for Chelsea, I'm going to say Lauren James to score. I think she needs a goal. Performances have been really strong recently from Lauren James. We're starting to see her find that level. We're starting to see her... she's been out for so long and obviously had patches where she's in and out of the team, in and out of the injury room, really. But we're starting to see her rekindle that level. And I just think if she can find a goal and really tear a team apart, that raises that confidence again in Lauren James. I also think Alyssa Thompson will score. I think Alyssa Thompson has been really good recently. I think, been one of Chelsea's most consistent players. Third top goal scorer in the WSL this season out of every player. Or I think fourth now because Miedemar scored a brace last night on Friday night. But still, she's been a really consistent performer, so I think she'll score again. And I'm going to say a rogue one. I'm going to say Villa Berman. I think it's going to drop to her on the edge of the box. She takes aim, scores a fantastic goal. Bit of a rogue prediction, but I fancy it. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Predictions coming into the live chat then. Locust saying 3-1 Chelsea. Brainy going 2-1 Chelsea. GT saying my prediction is 2-1 Liverpool. They sneak a goal at the end. Wow. What an upset that would be. Chelmer saying Thompson will score and Riley saying 2-1 Chelsea. Liverpool take the lead and Chelsea get the better of them in the second half. Loving it then. A nice range of predictions in the live chat and the poll reflecting a similar story. 82% going for Chelsea. There's then 15% going for Liverpool and 4% going for a draw. So yeah, should be a very good game. Looking forward to it. We're getting underway in just 2 minutes time. Should be a very fascinating way to kick off this double dose of WSL action on this Sunday. And of course, we will be keeping tabs on the other WSL fixtures. Aston Villa taking on Tottenham, Everton against West Ham, and Manchester United versus London City Lionesses. All good games. So many good games this weekend. Villa Tottenham's a really important one in that midfield battle. If Villa lose that, they could quickly see themselves dropping into a bit of a relegation scrap. Everton West Ham, key for that relegation battle. The winner there almost puts themselves safe in this season. Manchester United against London City Lionesses, great opportunity for London City to prove themselves. United need to keep the winning form coming if they're going to get into Europe next season. But we are about to get underway here at Kingsmeadow, so I ought to get the graphics ready. And hopefully we're tracked to a very exciting 45 minutes of action. No, 90 minutes of action, sorry, not just one half. This morning. And hopefully another good day of WSL football. And nothing, I don't think there'll be anything quite as one-sided as the game on Friday night. City absolutely dominant. Leicester looked completely lost. City walking away with the title. It will be Chelsea to get us started. Lauren James from the middle on this wet and windy Sunday morning at Kingsmeadow. Lauren James from the middle waiting for the referee's whistle to get us started on WSL Sunday. The referee does now blow her whistle and Chelsea can get us underway in this game. It's Chelsea versus Liverpool in the WSL game week 16. Chelsea still in the hunt for Europe. Liverpool looking to get out of that relegation fight. Germa Goes down the right-hand side, picked off well by Alejandro Bernabé. Fisk can't quite poke that pass out back to Bernabé, and so it's out for a Chelsea throw. Ball down the line, Carnereid gets around Bernabé well and accidentally runs that out of play. Bernabé does well just to knock it into Carnereid as Carnereid puts the pressure on. Sheldale says Serena at the United game, presumably to see Freya Godfrey. There's quite a few players there. Myla Tissier, of course, probably going to end up playing right back in the internationals in a couple of weeks' time with Lucy Bronze not fit to play and Serena not trusting anyone else. Thomas, great hold up. Capox feeds it through the lines and Holland could get there. Germa recovers well though and Chelsea get away with that one. Hampton drilling it out towards the right-hand side. Carnereid unable to control it and then the offside flag does go up. We're already seeing there Liverpool trying to hit Chelsea quickly, trying to hit them in transition. I think it's going to be difficult for Germa and Berman today. They're not going to get a lot of defensive support from Baltimore and Carpenter. And I do just worry that it could see Chelsea concede quite a few big opportunities. Now, whether or not they go in is another matter. Hampton's a fantastic goalkeeper and, brilliant at 1v1s. But, if Liverpool strikers can remain composed, I think they'll get a goal today at the very least. Shimizu. Clark back to Risa Shimizu. And she's going to look to hit long. And Thomas touching it round the corner. Berman on hand to win it back. And now Naomi Germa. Carpenter forced backwards to Hampton. Great pressure here from Liverpool high up the pitch. And now Villa Berman. Phil, welcome to the stream. Says afternoon all. Afternoon Phil, good to see you. Walsh here splitting the centre half. So as we thought really, Walsh will be dropping in. Again though the midfielder just looks quite high. Walsh. Picked off high at the pitch here by Capox. And Chelsea a little bit open now. Cornelia Capox plays it inside to O'Sullivan. Tries to shift it into Thomas. One back by the recovering Cuthbert. Cleared away and Carnereid can't quite get there ahead of Holland. Exchanges with Bernabé now does Holland. Fisk. Happy to carry this inside and that's dispossessed by Nusken. And Nagano forced backwards to Clark. Nagano. Now Shimizu, down the line, Bergstrom. Plays it inside to Holland, nice control. Bergstrom again on her left foot out towards the left-hand side. And here is Alejandro Bernabé, former Chelsea player, of course. Lining up today, takes on Carpenter and beats her well. Ball into the area, falls to the back post. Chance now for Bergstrom if she can sort her feet out, does score. But the whistle had gone. It bounced up into her arm before she took the shot. And the whistle went before she could fire home. But some early warning signs for Chelsea. Just stretched quite well there by Liverpool's attack. And of course, that shot easier than it would have been if she hadn't handballed it, because Chelsea all stopped to complain. Baltimore. Inside to Sjoka Nusken. Baltimore. Now Thompson, Nusken. Berman across to Hampton. Gamma back to Hampton. Hampton just trying to carry this out. Shaldale says, does that concern you? Well, the slow start or the fact Chelsea are open. I'm not. The problem is, it's easy to criticise Sonia Bonpastor, and I think there are some valid criticisms. Thompson coming forwards now. Can Chelsea create something from here? Lauren James cuts inside, takes aim, blocked well by Nagano. And one high here by Alyssa Thompson, who looks to take on Shimizu. Ball clipped in there, headed on by Nusken, and it'll drop in the box, and Holland able to hook it clear. Now in midfield with Walsh. Germa. Now Villa Berman. Baltimore. Into Nusken in the pocket, who rides the challenge well. Thompson, misplaced pass, and Liverpool now win back possession. Personally, I'm not too worried. I think it's easy to criticise Bonpastor for the setup today, but I think it's difficult because what worked really well against Tottenham was that situational back three and being able to tuck in the left back. But Chelsea don't have the players for that today. And I know Chelsea's injury crisis is undermined by the media because it's Chelsea, but it is a serious problem. Chelsea have only two fit centre-halves and no left-backs at the moment, which is, you know, a bit of an issue with their squad building from the summer, admittedly. But also, they have been incredibly unlucky with Bright, Buchanan and Bjorn all picking up injuries in recent, obviously, Bright most recently, Bjorn and Buchanan with more serious long-term injuries. Hampton into Germer. But it does mean Chelsea can't play the way that worked really well in that second half against Tottenham. Walsh. Now to Germer. And it's easy to say, like, because you could put Nusken at centre-half, for example. But again, Chelsea don't have any fit midfielders right now. It's probably an oversight to let Jean-Francois leave without replacing her. But, you know, Nusken's really important in that midfield, especially with Captain. I mean, Captain could play there, but she's out injured. She's only just returning from injury today. Baltimore trying to poke that through. I think James has gone too early there. The flag does go up, and that's a free kick for Liverpool. The first goal of WSL Sunday going in the game between Manchester United and London City. Thanks everyone in the live chat for letting me know. London City taking the lead away at the Leigh Sports Village. Nikita Paris set up by Freya Godfrey. And that would be a huge shock and a huge result for London City. And United, in the first 5 minutes, have had 90% of the ball. But it's London City who scored that early goal. Chelsea trying to drive that forwards, outload for a Liverpool throw-in on the far side. Shimizu. Looking for options, unable to find them. Nusken battling away. Baltimore can't quite dispossess Capox, who drives it inside now. Shifts it forwards to O'Sullivan. It's one in there by Carpenter. Pokes it away only as far as Bernabei. Nagano. Bernabei. Capox. O'Sullivan back into Capox. Fisk plays across the back line. First, as Chelsea and Arsenal have both been hit by injuries this year. Oh, but injuries at the back this year. Well, Arsenal have had just Williamson and then Reed. But Reed wasn't a first teamer before this season. So I don't think it's entirely comparable. But Arsenal also do have a lot more depth in centre-back. Not that I don't think it's quality depth. They do have depth. Nagano into Holland. Can she take a miss? Slices across goal towards that front post and saved well by Hampton. Yeah, slices across her body, in towards the front post. Strong stave from Hannah Hampton. But I think it's the same thing that we said with Gareth Taylor. Gareth Taylor's system wasn't the problem at the start of the season. It was the players and the profiles that Liverpool had and the injuries to key players that really cost them. Now they've got players who fit their system. They're playing some really nice football. Corner now for Liverpool. Holland. In towards the back post, head away by Berman. Thompson trying to drive that ball forwards. And trying to play it down the line. And that's out for a Chelsea throw. Versus Williamson, Reed and both keepers. Yeah, fair enough on keepers. I forgot about the goalkeeper. I mean, Hampton was out injured as well. And to be fair, with Arsenal, I actually think Borba has done a better job than either Zinsberger or Van Domselaar. But I get your point. Hampton. Logan says this summer's transfer window is going to be a new record by Chelsea, I think. I reckon a record high. They can't possibly beat the record number of transfers because London City built an entire new team last summer. Walsh unable to hold on to that ball. Germer gets there. Now Walsh. Carrying the ball forwards. Cuthbert. Now Germer. Forwards into Walsh. Slipping it in behind. And Carnereed's going to get there. Can Fisk get out wide to her? She does well. Carnereed inside to Carpenter. Back to Carnereed. Choosing the safe option there, does Carpenter. And the offside flag goes up. And that's a little bit clumsy between the pair. Carpenter got into a good position, turned back, and actually played it into an offside position. And while it's still 0-0 after 9 minutes here, there's goals in every other game. After 8 minutes in the game between Everton and West Ham, Everton take the lead there. Hannah Blundell setting up Hanoka Hayashi. And that would be a big 3 points and another big result for their interim manager. And then Aston Villa 0, Tottenham 1. Signe Gaupset, who's been fantastic since joining the club, gets her first goal for Tottenham, and an important one. They take the lead there against an out-of-form Aston Villa. Aston Villa dropping to 9th in the table as it stands. And while this would still be 5 points ahead of both Liverpool and West Ham, it's not a great look for Villa. A decent amount of money and ambition at that club. Questions do have to be asked of the management, I think. And of some of the players, and the fact that they haven't got a striker who can score. But Walsh, Cuthbert. Now Germer. Back to Hampton. Hampton inside, out wide to Germer. Now touches on to Carpenter. Carnereed, Cuthbert. Of course, it depends on who's available for Chelsea this summer. They could rebuild a lot with expiring players and not need to spend too big. I think Chelsea want to make the statement, if they can, of spending big. The question will be whether there's anyone available to spend big on. Because the record's, what, Grace Euro, €1.5 million. Is there another player right now who is attainable, worth that value? Probably not. Baltimore down the line to Nuskin. I don't think Euro is worth that value for what it's worth, but I don't know if there's anyone out there that Chelsea would spend €1.5 million on right now. Cuthbert, too eager there, catching Fuka Nagano, and that will be a free kick for Liverpool. And for anyone asking where to watch the game, is available exclusively on Sky Sports this morning. So if you are looking to watch the game and you can't find a way to do so, feel free to join us here. Or if you are able to watch the game and just want to join along for a watch along, then stay tuned. It's happening right now. Nagano carrying the ball forward, slots it inside to Holland, who can take aim here and getting under that one and lifting it into the crowd. Holland unable to generate the accuracy or the power there, just got under it. Little too eager to take that shot on and unable to challenge the goalkeeper. But yeah, Liverpool I don't think have done too badly first 12 minutes. They've been a little bit, I think they've panicked a little bit in front of goal. Not been quite, and the decision making in the final third hasn't been perfect, but they are giving Chelsea a really good game here in these early stages. Shimizu plays it down the line into Bergstrom, who gets past Baltimore too easily. Great stuff from Bergstrom, flashes it into the box, and Hampton can claim that one. And that's what I mean about decision making. Really good drive initially from Bergstrom. Should probably keep going with that there because she hasn't really got support in the penalty area. Instead, she puts that cross into the box pretty early and gives away a good opportunity. Good pressure here from Liverpool to turn over the ball. Carnereed battles away and does win it back though. Great work there from Joanna Ritting. Carnereed exchanges now with Lauren James, and Fisk able to come across well and deal with the threat. Carnereed just not explosive as a winger, never has been. Just can't get away from Grace Fisk there. Cuthbert does well to win it back in midfield. Baltimore. Now Berman inside to Walsh. The conductor of the Chelsea midfield. Germer back to Walsh. Now Carpenter. Doesn't really have the supporting options. And Holland tries to win it back. O'Sullivan now able to win a throw there. And Liverpool can progress from this position. Dolph Mattis says they could get Chawinga for 1.5 million. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that would be a ridiculously good signing. I don't know. Again, though, is she attainable? Why would she leave OL Lyonnais right now? I mean, maybe if they win the Champions League this year, unless you mean Tenwa Chawinga, that would also be a fantastic deal. But yeah, again, would she join? But yeah, that is an option. I don't know if Chelsea will spend big on strikers. I think they will renew Kerr. I think they'll renew Beaver Jones, and I think they'll back Ramirez coming back from injury. If I had to predict the areas Chelsea will spend big, I think there'll be another centre-half come in, at least one more centre-half come in, possibly two. But again, Bjorn and Buchanan coming back should be fine. But I think they'll want another, so they've got a group of 5. I think Chelsea will sign a natural left-back. I think Chelsea will probably bring in another midfielder. I think they'll look for strength at right wing as well and move on Carnereed. And then it'll be if they get any big offers or any big opportunities. Because I think they'll push Baltimore up to be a left winger next season and bring in a natural left back. Good control here from Bergstrom, who can drop deep. Plays into Holland now, who has pulled into a central area to receive the ball. One back in there well by Villa. Berman and Germer dispossessed. Can't deal really well with the physicality in there and able to be bailed out by Cuthbert, who was caught in the challenge. That will be well, either Chelsea have got the ball, it will be a Chelsea free kick. I think game has been stopped for a moment though. Shaman says Frey almost made it 2. Good reaction from Fallon. Wow. I'll be keen to watch that one back, but anyone watching the game, let me know. Are United being outplayed or what's going on there? Is it just 2 big opportunities? Let me know. And Phil says, I agree. Not too many big moves I can see at that price. Cersei will get her move, but probably not huge money. Yeah, I think that's the problem. There's not a lot of moving parts in terms of the top level players this window. I think there's lots, like the elite level, I think there's lots of really good footballers and promising players who will get big moves. But those elite level players, your Bon Matisse, not really going anywhere. The only ones are Battier, who looks destined for Arsenal, but Chelsea are still in that conversation at the moment. You've got... Is there anyone at Lyonnaise? Probably not. Why would anyone leave apart from like Lindsay Horan? But I wouldn't say she's elite level anymore. And she's going to the NWSL. So there's elite level players, your Bon Matisse, maybe Putellas, but that's not really a signing Chelsea would make. I think that's going to be a London City or a PSG or somewhere in the NWSL or the Liga MX. Cuthbert back into Germa, looking for the forward option. Goes back to Hannah Hampton. Shaman says they're being dominated, playing awful. Wow. I mean, considering how poor London City have been since Maestro took charge, that is surprising. Baltimore. Pass inside to Nusken, but it sounds more like United playing badly. Nusken looking to hit it in behind. Great work in there from Cornelia Parks, and then Nusken wins the physical battle. Referee deems it as a foul, though, and Liverpool with a free kick on the halfway line here. Capox knocks it back. Goal in the game as well between Aston Villa and Tottenham. Thank you, Nigel, for letting me know. Kirsty Hansen with that goal, keeping up her brilliant run of form this season. Adding another goal to her tally. Carpenter throws it short into Walsh. And that's deflected off Kerry Holland. That'll be another Chelsea throw. Back to Germa. Carpenter. Germa. Looking to hit it long. Fisk heads it down. Bernabé robbed the possession. Wins it back though. Cuthbert then on hand to regain the ball. And that will be a Chelsea throw-in. Gareth Taylor's not happy about it and refusing to give Cuthbert the ball. That's eventually concede it. And now Chelsea can play down the right-hand side. Great throw from Carpenter. Carnery looking to get in behind Bernabé. Bernabé pokes it out of touch. And it's the first corner of the game for Chelsea. An opportunity now to put Liverpool under pressure. Can they find something from this situation? Chelsea haven't been as potent as they should be from set pieces this campaign. And while they are lacking much of an aerial threat today, can they come up with something ingenuitive? They scored from a corner last weekend against Tottenham, of course. That one headed down to Kira Walsh on the edge of the box. He struck it high well, and this blunt played short. Baltimore shifting it into James, back to Baltimore. Walsh, James now, looking to lift it into the box. Great delivery. Berman will get there. Can't turn it goal as Nusken flicks it on. Bounce around. Germa now trying to turn it into the back of the net. It's blocked well. Thompson. Back into Lauren James, who shifts away from Fisk. Looking to be dangerous here. Ball in towards the back post. That's slightly overhit. Not able to find a teammate. Berman will pick up the scraps. Now Baltimore. And that's touched out of play well by Thomas, who got back in. But Chelsea there, offering threat from that set piece. Didn't really have anyone to head it home. And they just couldn't quite turn it home as it bounced around. And 2-1 Tottenham now in that game. Beth England with the goal. Thank you again to the live chat for the update. That's a big block in there from Grace Fisk as well. From that corner, Germa turned it goalwards. Fisk with a fantastic block. Chelsea here not happy about the football. With that one being a little deflated, so it will be a drop ball as they get a new ball. A27 says, I'm late. How's it going, everyone? Fairly even so far. Chelsea have had a lot of the ball. Haven't really done much with it. Liverpool have had a few high turnovers, but again, that final ball's been lacking. Decision-making's been quite poor in the final third. Neither side's really had much to speak of in the way of chances. It's the kind of game where Chelsea haven't started incredibly quickly, but it does feel like that they are building a platform from which to succeed. It'll be whether Liverpool can capitalise on another bit of a slower start. But it's not been poor from Chelsea necessarily. I think, again, they're just getting to grips with the game. Similar to Tottenham, where it's a slight tweak again on the formation, this time forced by injuries. And it's just adjusting to how that perhaps works. I think the big difference as well, Tottenham made life really difficult for Chelsea in the opening half an hour. The big difference there is that Tottenham are one of the best pressing sides in the league. And so Chelsea's perhaps a little bit of fallibility trying to play out from the back was really exposed. And while Liverpool press aggressively, they're not as well drilled as Tottenham, and Chelsea are finding a little bit more joy at playing through them. Cuthbert picking up on this loose ball in midfield. Nagano wins it back and now feeds it to the left-hand side. Holland into O'Sullivan, and tenacious Cuthbert on the case. Can't read unable to hold on to the ball though. James putting pressure on Fisk, who plays out of it well, and now across to Clark, who's looking for a forward option. O'Sullivan. Now Clark. Bernabei carrying the ball forwards. Slots it in behind. Here's Holland. What can she create from this position? Gives it back to Grace Fisk. Holland. Nowhere to go. So she's forced backwards into Clark. O'Sullivan. Clark. And across into Shimizu. Wide to Kapox. Clipping it in behind, and Bergstrom makes that run in behind. Looking for the cut back, and she just delays too long in there. Had the opportunity, didn't release the ball. And now Chelsea coming the other way. Thompson. Into Nusken. Who carries it forward, slips it back towards Thompson. Short on options, and now plays it into Baltimore. Manages to beat Shimizu. Can she play the ball in towards the box? A good claim from Jennifer Falk. Too close to the keeper though. The cross towards the front post from Sandy Baltimore. GT says Cuthbert is struggling. I think it's been a difficult season for Cuthbert. I don't think she was suited to the sort of formation shift Chelsea went for at the start of the season. I think that midfield pivot just wasn't her. That's not really what she's suited to. And she had to defend wide spaces a lot more. Because it's her and Walsh in midfield, but with Walsh sort of playing a more reserved role, Cuthbert had to do a lot of hard yards. And I think what we're seeing at this point in the season is she just looks heavily fatigued. I think it's been masked more since they've gone to a midfield 3 in the last few weeks. And you've got Nusken in there as well. So that ground and that work rate in there is covered across 2 players. But Cuthbert's not missed a game, I don't think. It's been, Walsh had a small period where she was out injured, but I think Cuthbert's played every match. And I think that has been a bit of an issue. And I get why she's played every game, because Chelsea are lacking a little bit of leadership on the pitch. Bronze has been out injured this season. Kerr obviously hasn't been, wasn't fit to start the campaign. Has had a fleeting involvement since. So a lot of key players missing. You do want someone in there who has that experience, has that leadership. But I think Cuthbert's played too much, and we're now just watching a very fatigued version of Erin Cuthbert. It's one of those where, based on her performances this season, you'd say, "Oh, is it time to move her on?" But I think what we'd see after the summer is that she comes back absolute, a much better version of herself, and I don't think she's a player that Chelsea can afford to move on this summer, especially with so much change. I think it's important to keep it the same. She's played every game apart from Everton, yeah. Well, that's my point. She's played 15 matches then. She's played, I think, has she played every Champions League game as well? Plus the League Cup fixtures, plus I think she got a rest in the FA Cup. But again, I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head. But she's played a hell of a lot of football. She's also a player that doesn't tend to get subbed off early. Walsh. Now Germer. Looking to switch the play here. That's a great pass into Sondy Baltimore, who can combine with Thompson here. Also has James in support. James makes the wide run, ball into the box. Thompson can't quite get there, and Carpenter unable to pick up on the loose ball. And that's cleared away well. Chelsea have got to find a way to draw Liverpool out a little bit more, because what we're seeing at the moment, and this could point towards Sam Kerr being important in the second half, is that when Chelsea get forwards, they're not moving it quite quick enough or quite direct enough in order to get that space in behind. And so Liverpool are dropping into that defensive shape. And we're seeing a lot of balls now, a lot of deliveries where they're trying to play it in behind the defence, but there's no space in behind the defence anymore. This is much better from Walsh, looking to go more direct into Nusken. Doesn't quite come off. Kapok's picking up in midfield, and James committing a lazy foul, and it will be a Liverpool free kick. And Tottenham have another goal in that game, according to Nigel. Aston Villa 1, Tottenham 3. Olivia Holt scoring from what looks like a mental angle on FootMob. And Tottenham running right there. Holt with a goal and assist. And Tottenham 3-1 up now against Aston Villa, who are really suffering in this second half of the season. Carpenter. Going back into Germer. Gideon says, are you a fan supporting Chelsea or Man United? I'm a Chelsea fan. Do try and be as neutral as possible in these streams. If you are a Liverpool fan, don't feel the need to immediately turn off. But yeah, no, I do support Chelsea. Berman. Into Baltimore. Looks to play it in behind. Thompson times the run well, driving forwards, and the flag then does go up. Thought she'd timed that well. Liverpool's defence was adamant, but it didn't look as offside as the Liverpool defence suggested there. Keen to see a replay. Does she just drift too early? Yeah. By the time the ball's released, just gets the wrong side of, gets the wrong side of Shimizu. So he's flagged rightly offside. Ball goes long. Berman winning the header. Walsh now looking to clip it in behind, and James will give chase. Falk off her line well. Shimizu. Clark. Forced into the corner. Playing it into Bergstrom. Baltimore back towards Thompson. He wants to take on Shimizu. Unable though to find a way through. And they'll go central now in towards Cuthbert. Germer. Back to Hampton. And now Germer again. Back to Hampton. Into Cuthbert, who drops to split the centre halves. And looks to go more direct now, and Carnareed running in behind. That will run through though to Jennifer Falk. So yeah, I mean, neither side's really had much in the way of chances to speak of. 4 shots to 2 in favour of Chelsea. Outside of that opportunity for Naomi Germer though, which was blocked well, we've not really seen Chelsea get many, incredible shots away. Yet to put one on target, apparently, though they did have that blocked shot. Whether or not that was on target then is interesting. Liverpool 2 shots so far, only 1 on target. But yeah, Kapox trying to bring that under our control. One back well by Chelsea. Thompson into Nusken. James, brilliant hold up there from Lauren James, and she's felled by Denise O'Sullivan, who just stops her there from dropping back into midfield with the ball. And Manchester United draw level in that game. London City with the early goal and lots of the early chances, but United have found an equaliser there at the Leeds Sports Village. Manchester United 1, London City 1. Hampton into Germer. Carpenter. Cuthbert now. Back to Germer. Carpenter inside to Walsh. Under pressure from Kapox. Looks to play down the line. Forced into running that out of play though. And Jess Park, the goal scorer for United. Apparently a worldie. And I mean, based on the XG and the position on FOTMob, looks like one hell of a goal. Lucas says, how do you think Germa will go once Bright leaves? I don't think Bright is a factor too much in Germa. I mean, obviously, it's different how she plays. And I think a better partner for her would be, I mean, Berman's been really good today already. Has looked really strong. I think her adjustment to the league's been really impressive. But it's worth remembering that she played in a top European league for a full season before coming to Chelsea. And Germa obviously has experience playing top-level elite football. But the NWSL is a very different league. And I think the only thing holding Germa back at the moment is her ability to handle the physicality of the WSL. I think too often she gets bullied by by the experienced WSL players because they're used to physicality and they understand sort of how to get the better of centre halves. And I think that's what's missing from Germa's game at the moment. She's got obviously the ability with her ball at feet is really strong. She's got the attributes. Ball across the box from Nusken, good claim there from Falk. Nice move down the right-hand side there from Chelsea. Looks like Nusken wasn't going anywhere, but managed to create the space for the cross. And a good claim from Falk. But I think, yeah, she's got all the natural attributes. It's developing the physical side of her game. Because she's a great athlete, great passer. But yeah, I just think it's the reading of the game and the physicality that's just missing at the moment for Germa. I think it's masked more when you're alongside a Berman or a Bjorn. And the reason that is because both of them are better at recovering than someone like a Bright. So if you do make a mistake or you get sort of bullied off the ball, those two are better at making up for that because they're quicker. I think is the only reason. Germa's quite a proactive defender. She likes to step up and step onto people. And if you get bullied in that position, it does open up a bit of space. So A27 says, Park is something else. Yeah, I mean, Jess Park's a phenomenal footballer. I think that's no secret at this point. Baltimore carrying down the left-hand side. Looking for a forward option. Plays it inside to James, who knocks it down the line to Nusken. Here's Thompson, Nusken, Baltimore. Inside to Thompson. And Nagano there, dragged down by Thompson, deemed fair. Cuthbert carrying it forward, slips it in behind, and Fisk stops it getting through to James. Important interception. If not, that was probably 1-0 Chelsea. You'd back Lauren James to score in that kind of position. Ball into midfield. Walsh picks it off. Drops now for James. Thompson unable to get there. And Nagano will carry this out. Cuthbert wins it back. Chelsea think that was a handball, but Liverpool progress down the left-hand side. Referee happy to let it continue. Holland, Carpenter gets there and nudges her off the pitch and then runs it out of play. And somehow, it will be a Liverpool throw. Carpenter tried to take it quickly. Ref won't let this happen. Back to Fisk. JC says, do you think Sonia's trying to force forward midfielders into this lineup and sacrifice an actual 9? Yeah, but I think that works. The bit that's not working at the moment is the defensive, the rest defence structure. Bergstrom breaks down the right-hand side, cuts it back and cleared away well by Berman, picked up on by Thompson. Because with Thompson and Carnegie, you've got two wingers who are very happy to make those sort of inside runs, getting in between the fullback and the centre-half. So having a striker that drops out, what that creates is a spare option in midfield, or it pulls a defender out of space and gives you that opportunity to play in behind. Where the problem I think for me is coming is that both the fullbacks pushing high just crams the final third too much and doesn't really give you options to play, to go backwards, knock it around and draw the other team out. I don't think it gives you those options. I think what we saw with Berman at left back, inverting then into a sort of back three in possession, was that they had a bit more stability to the structure. I just think that there's too many players in attack for Chelsea at the moment. Germa. Back now to Hampton. Walsh. I think City had a bit of the same issue last night against Leicester because they were pushing, or Friday night against Leicester because they pushed Greenwood forwards, which they haven't been doing this season. They've been inverting her and pushing Kasparov forwards and building the same sort of structure that I think Chelsea were looking to do. The difference is they get away with it because they just cross it in, and you've got Miedemar and you've got Shaw, and they're two players who are great at heading the ball. And there is a big difference in how City function that attacking or sort of central area in the final third compared to what Chelsea are trying to do. That is the biggest difference, or at least from what we saw in the second half against Tottenham. That's the biggest difference. Walsh. Now Berman. James. Driving it inside. Nusken, back to James. Plays it wide to Baltimore. He's got option in the box. Cuts it back for Thompson, who's dispossessed, and that's lashed away by Fisk. But that's what I'm talking about, because you've got so many players in there. You're not really pulling anyone for Liverpool out. And it feels like the Chelsea players are almost getting in each other's way. Like Thompson then making that run blocks the ball from getting to Nusken, and neither of them are neither of them then become options really to play it to. So it goes into Thompson. She can't really get the shot away. Carpenter's going to break down the right-hand side. She's going to get there ahead of Alejandra Bernabé. Doesn't really have the support in the box. Tries to come inside. Does well here. Carpenter now needs support. Cuthbert across the box to James, who tries to flick it over her shoulder and just wide of the mark. Don't mind that from Lauren James. They're trying to find a route to goal in a bit of an unorthodox way. Phil says 90% of US games they're in control, so Germa is free to play however she wants. She's a great footballer, but a questionable defender. But she's also, what, 23, 24? It's very much, 25, very much coachable into her game still. So yeah, I'm not too concerned. I think that everything that she's missing from her game, the physicality of it, of being a defender, and the reading of the game, I think is still learnable. Can't read. Into James. Plays it across to Germa. Now Carpenter. Germa. Trying to play it forwards. Bernabé able to intercept. Bray says, can't one of the fullbacks sacrifice their role and play that more defensive role? That's absolutely what they should do. The problem you've got is that neither Carpenter or Baltimore are particularly good in that sort of position. It's a frustrating lack of options for Chelsea right now. If they had an Eve Charles, even she could do that to an extent. Even if you had someone like a Captain, you could then, I mean, she's back on the bench today, so maybe they'll try it later. You could then drop Nusken into defence. Cuthbert into Carpenter, and now Chelsea can build out. Laura says, Gareth wasn't worth the price tag. I think she'll prove to be. I think it's very difficult to say she wasn't when it's been a year and she's been injured for almost 70% of that. Carpenter bursts away from Nagano, shifts it inside to Nusken now, who looks for an option, clipping out towards the left-hand side. That's massively overhit and will just bounce out of play. Unfortunate there. Nice move from Chelsea. Just broke down. Didn't fall nicely for Sioka Nusken. That pass to Thompson was a very difficult one to execute. Phil says, yeah, very experienced at the pro level. Only 2 seasons in MLS, then a stop-start time over here. Absolutely. But the sort of... The other way to look at that is that she's only played 2 years, so she should be able to play for much longer. What you tend to see is players who start playing at 18, they fall off a cliff by 30. But she's 25 with only sort of a couple years experience at the top level. In theory, then, she should be able to play a longer career. We hope, because then Chelsea will definitely get their money's worth. Nusken into Germa, back now to Hampton. Germa. Hampton. Bray says, we argue they're not strong enough defensively. How can they develop this? Game time. Playing in the WSL, you gain the experience and the understanding of how to defend, coaching, you know, looking at defensive principles, but also then time in the gym. Ball in from Baltimore. Clark gets up to it, now drops in the box. Chance for Cuthbert, who lashes at it. And it's blocked wide. That's a Chelsea corner. And that probably should have been a goal. Cuthbert just tried to thump it into the back of the net. I think accuracy would have been important. But yeah, get her in the gym. Suddenly she becomes a much stronger physical player. She won't get bullied as much. The defensive weaknesses then, you know, pale to insignificance. Hopefully. Cuthbert. James Walsh now from the edge will strike it. Cannons off the head of Shimizu. Great block there from the fullback. Carpenter feeds it wide to Cuthbert, down the line to James, who tries to chop back inside. Does well there. Ball into a dangerous area. Touched on. And Chelsea lead here at Kingsmeadow. A well-worked move. I'm not sure who got the final touch in there. Nusken nodded on or touched it on at the front post. Great delivery from Lauren James, and Chelsea lead in this game. And that's really important for James. Seeing her get back amongst or back involved in the goals. A great delivery. Touchstone well by Nusken, and Chelsea lead in this game. It's Chelsea 1, Liverpool 0. Really really worked routine from the corner. Walsh's effort didn't quite come off. It's really nice from Cuthbert to reverse it. James here spins the fullback well, and it's Nusken who touches it home. Great stuff from Lauren James, creating that goal. Great movement from Sioka Nusken. Anticipates the ball, makes that run towards the front post. Real striker's movement from Sioka Nusken, and just touches it home past Falk at the near post. Really good stuff. And Chelsea lead in this game. Nusken with a goal, assisted by Lauren James. And that's important, breaking the deadlock just before the half. It gives Chelsea more confidence going into the second half, but I think it also shatters a bit of that Liverpool confidence. They've done really well in this first half and just come undone there. Really nice move from Chelsea. It was a brilliant movement from Sioka Nusken and a great delivery from Lauren James that created that goal. And Chelsea lead now in this game. I think an issue here for the Liverpool defender. I didn't see who went out to it, but they tried to compete with Lauren James and just seemed to get caught. And that just gave James a little bit more space. I still can't really see who it is from this angle. It looks like Cornelia Kapox or Bergstrom. Not 100% sure. Gideon says, Bjorn is our best defender when she's alongside with Germa. Look at the game we played against Barcelona. Absolutely. And I think that without any signings, if we were looking at how Chelsea will line up next season, I think we'll see, it's just unfortunate here. I think Bergstrom challenging the ball, just tries to win it back and just kicks up into Lauren James's studs. Great move from Nusken, great goal. I think if we were to guess from here what Chelsea will do next season, based on what we've seen recently, I think that it will be a back four with Berman playing that left back role, or if they bring in another defender that can play that sort of position. Then Germa operating as a bit of a central centre, possibly Bjorn as central centre back. I don't know, but sort of Germa Bjorn centre back partnership, and then they're going to look to use Carpenter as that super aggressive right back. I think we'll see Baltimore and Thompson then as the left wingers, because I think Wrighton will leave, and then that sort of frees up. That gives you your two left winger options. I think you've got fantastic rotation there, with obviously Lola Brown coming through as well. Germa tries to play it forwards, picked off by O'Sullivan. Thomas now high at the pitch, back towards O'Sullivan. Can she fashion the shot? Forced backwards to Nagano, who runs back into the referee, able to keep it in Liverpool possession though. Holland goes backwards. Now Clark. Shimizu. Sharon just says, Neve Charles update. I haven't heard anything in a while, to be fair. Still not amongst the substitutes, though. We have got Bronze, Beaver Jones and Captain all on the bench, though, after injuries. So that's important going into an important month. Got United next weekend. Such a big game. Chelsea want to progress in the FA Cup. And then obviously moving into March, the League Cup final. Champions League quarter-finals where they'll likely face Arsenal unless Leuven can overturn a 4-goal deficit on a Wednesday night, which you never know. Baltimore into Berman. Now Walsh picks up the ball and looks forwards. Here's Germa, who looks to play it in behind, and that will bounce on through to Jennifer Falk. Joe says Bjorn and Germa is a great centre-back, great starter centre-back pairing for next season. Absolutely. I think once Bjorn's back and Germa develops starts to develop more into the league, I think we'll see those two be really strong together. Germa steps up there and doesn't win the ball. Therefore, play out to the right-hand side. Bergstrom across the box. Brilliant from Villa. Berman getting back in there. And clears the ball out of play. Great stuff. Great defending there from Chelsea's back line. Goma stepped up, didn't win the ball, but players dropped back in to fill those holes. And we've got 3 minutes of additional time in this first half. Most of it, I think, for the injury right at the right towards the end of that half there. Outside of that, not too many stoppages in the first 45. Showdill says, do you prefer to go to the games live or stream them? Obviously, going to a live game is incredible. I think I think it's interesting. I love going to live games. It's very different things. Going to a live football match costs me lots of money, especially Chelsea, because I've got to travel into London. And this makes me money. So it's, you know, I love going to games, but yeah, unfortunately, it does cost money. And this makes money. So this is my job. But yeah, I love live streaming. I love watching games. So I balance it out by live streaming the women's games and going to as many men's games as I can. Ball down the left-hand side. Here's Lauren James. What chance can she create from this position? Cuts in. Nusken plays it wide to Carpenter. Carnareed. Can she create a cross from this position? Goes back to Carpenter, who takes on Bernabé again. Ball in towards the back post. And that will bounce on through, and Bergstrom will get there and knocks it away. And a stoppage here for Holland. Matt's asking, where is the other person? He's been sacked. No, he hasn't. He's refereeing this morning. So, yeah. He is also a referee alongside doing this. So, sometimes he misses streams. He will be back, though, for the 2:30 game. So, make sure to join us for that. Slightly concerning this from Holland, because that was off the ball. I think her and Carpenter just came together accidentally. And hobbles back to her feet. Does seem to be. She's a warrior, is Kerry Holland, so she'll try and continue. Does look to be in quite a bit of discomfort, but we are close to the half now anyway. So I think she'll just try and get through it. Germa. Back to Hampton. Now Germa. Slots it into Carpenter. Into Cuthbert, sorry. Carpenter making the run beyond. Cuthbert drops back in, though, and now into Villa Berman. Spreading the play. Sondi Baltimore knocking it down the line and headed away by Clark. Will drop in there for Nusken. Carries it inside. Wide now to James, who plays it into the box, and Fisk hooking it clear. I think James may have just gone too early there, and it is flagged offside again. Liverpool's line's done well there just to jump up in those moments. Try and catch Lauren James offside when she's pulling wide. Unable there then to finish off the move. And so Falk will launch this up the pitch. And it falls, and that will be the last kick of the first half. 45 minutes of action under our belts, and Chelsea lead here by a goal to nil. Sjokke Nusken turning home Lauren James's cross for the only goal of the game thus far. And that sees Chelsea into a 1-goal lead at half-time. It's Chelsea 1, Liverpool 0. Really impressive stuff from the Blues. Dictated a lot of the game in that first half. Survived a few early scares, but Liverpool really didn't capitalise on the high turnovers they created, and Liverpool then under the cosh for most of the rest of the half. From their first 10 minutes, it was quite even. From then on, though, Chelsea did start to find their stride a little better. Still lacking that clinicality and I think the ability to create clear-cut chances. 8 shots in this game for Chelsea, only 1 on target. And that, of course, was the goal. But yeah, much more positive from Chelsea. They're starting now to really put that Liverpool backline under a lot more pressure. They're starting to combine in those high areas a lot better than we've seen them do in recent weeks. So, yeah, this was a better first half than what we saw against Tottenham. It will now be interesting to see whether they can continue it and really step up that performance in the second half. I think they'll want to get a goal early in the second half, try and kill this game off, and then maybe look to manage it from there. But yeah, I think we're getting closer to the level from Chelsea that we expect. I don't think we're there yet. I think there's still some small issues that need to be ironed out and stuff like that. But I think overall we're watching a Chelsea side that are much closer to their best. Again, still don't think they're at their best, but I do think they're a lot closer than they were in the games against, well, a lot of the games this season actually. But yeah. It's true that Joanna writing, Canary has never been an explosive winger in the traditional sense. She's effective through clever movement and creative space. She's not the kind of winger who leaves defenders trailing with raw speed. Yeah, and I think though in the league now, when there is so much focus on athleticism, I think you've got to be quick and strong, and you've got to be a fantastically technical footballer. The league standard is so high now that you need to have that explosive moment and then be able to create something. And what we're starting to see is certain wingers who perhaps aren't as technically good as Carnareid or as intelligent with their movement are starting to thrive, and Carnareid sort of being left behind. I mean, she's never been particularly productive, has Joanna Writting Carnareid. I mean, her best seasons at Chelsea have never had high numbers, but yeah, I mean, going back through the last few campaigns, first season at Chelsea, 1 goal, 4 assists. 23-24, her strongest, 4 goals, 10 assists. Last season, then 5 goals, 6 assists. This season, her best season in front of goal. Most of those coming in the Women's League Cup, though, with 6 goals, 5 assists. But still, only 1 goal in the WSL this campaign. So, yeah, I think she's just never had that end product, Carnareid, and that's the big problem. That's a big problem when you want to be the starting right winger in this Chelsea team. And so for that reason, I do think Chelsea will look to move her on this summer. Bit of a shame. I really like, well, I don't know, is it a bit of a shame? I don't know. I really like Carnareid. I think she's had some great moments at Chelsea, but she's not productive enough. And I think if Chelsea are looking to compete with the top players, they can't settle for just sort of decent in any position. So I think they'll look to move on Carnareid this summer. Champion says her signature move is amazing, though. Absolutely. I've never seen anyone chop as much as I've seen Carnareid chop. So, yeah, one of the only players in women's game at the moment to have a sort of archetypal movement. So, yeah, Phil says dribbler with a lack of end product. Absolutely. Carl says, so let's just go ahead and give Hannah a goalkeeper's boot. She's unreal. The goal was from a corner caused by Baltimore from a Hampton long ball. I mean, yeah, Hampton's a fantastic goalkeeper. I don't think that needs saying I don't think that needs to be said. She's phenomenal. For me, but the best goalkeeper in the world at the moment. We saw the difference for Chelsea when they didn't have her in net. And yeah, I think such a strong goalkeeper. Big reason why England won the Euros last year. A big reason why England will go into the next World Cup as one of the favourites. I mean, of course, it's a very incredibly strong side regardless, but I think Hannah Hampton's such a key part of both the England and Chelsea team. And yeah, top goalkeeper. Absolutely brilliant. Sharon says, where will Carnareid go next? Ooh, is it going to be a move in the WSL? Is she going to move abroad? I could see a move to the Bundesliga. I could see a Wolfsburg if they're looking to. I don't know what the Wolfsburg contract situation is like, but I think Beerenstein's out of contract. I think this could be Pop's last season. I'm not 100% on that one, or at least she's moved back into midfield anyway now, but I don't think she's got particularly long left. They've got Svenja Hoof at right wing, who is another one who you'd be thinking will be moving on the next few years. So that could be a nice move. Go to Wolfsburg, become their new starting right winger. Could be fun. Or yeah, I mean, there are options within the WSL, lower down the league. She could go to the NWSL. I think she's got a whole host of options, Carnareid. And I think in some of those other leagues, she'd probably be a lot more productive than the WSL. The WSL is just such a high standard at the moment of football that yeah, the best is what it takes really to compete at the top level. But yeah, not a bad performance then from Chelsea in that first half. Let's take a look again at that goal spilling out from the corner. It's really nice from Lauren James. She knows immediately she wants to spin. Great delivery into the box, and it's touched home really well by Sioka Nusken. It's really smart movement from Nusken. Just reads exactly where that ball's going to go and makes that intuitive run in towards the front post. Gets ahead of both the goalkeeper and Jenna Clark in towards that front post. is able then to touch it home. It's really smart stuff from Nusken, capitalising on that movement. And I think not only is it great from Nusken to understand where James is going to play it, but also from James to see obviously that run from Nusken, and rather than just looping it in the air or trying to loop it to the back post and hope there's a touch in there, you know, playing it purposely towards that front post for Nusken to touch home. So yeah, it's been interesting. Nigel says, there was a few messages from Nigel that I've missed, but a few on Aston Villa. I don't have the greatest tactical knowledge, but it's some of us what Villa's problem is in this game. They're playing a midfield 2 and they're trying to push one midfielder more advanced. So every time they lose the ball, they're facing a 1v3 in the middle. And Villa are too slow with their passing and it always makes them more outnumbered. Passing sloppiness isn't inherently on the tactics, but the tactical approach doesn't platform them well against a team like Tottenham. I think 3 backs just don't work for like sustained periods. I think you can play a 3 back in individual games and you know, maybe you can get it right on that day, and you for a specific tactical function they're great. But I don't think that we've very rarely do you see a manager have sustained success with a 3 back. You know, maybe they come into the league, they play a 3 back, and it works for 12 months, and then it sort of starts to fall apart. I just think it's too easy to play to sort of understand what they're trying to do, and then find weaknesses and find holes in the system. Now, I think Chelsea obviously tried to play 3 back at the start of this season and learnt quite quickly that a defensive shape is either a back 3 or a back 5. And we sort of saw it for Leicester as well on Friday night. It's just too easy. You either have a situation where both your wing backs are high, and in which case you end up with space to attack in behind, or the fullbacks have got to get out really quickly, and they can't do that. Or you end up with your wing backs getting pinned deep, and you end up with a flat 5, and you just can't get forward. So you end up either being too aggressive or too defensive. I think a 3 back can work if you have the perfect 11 profiles. You have very specific, perfect players for every position. Then yeah, you need wide centre halves though who are incredible wide defenders. So really quick, really physical, great athletes really, able to cover those wide positions. You need wing backs who just have incredible engines on them to just get up and down, and you know can get back in, great recovery pace to get back in, but are also really dangerous in the final third. So because they've got to create your width. The midfield's got to be an engine. I mean, everyone's got to work doubly as hard because you've got one centre back who's sort of not working as hard as everyone else. Like that's kind of what a 5 back or 3 back ends up being. So then the midfield's got to work even harder, and then the front 3, I guess you don't. I mean, pressing's important for them, but you don't end up with them being. They don't drop deep and offer much to defensive games. So it does become, you've got to get the exact right profiles to make it work. I think Villa are kind of getting there, and there have been games at times this season where, Villa have had the perfect players and they've just not taken their chances because their strikers haven't been good enough. But you look like their team today, and I mean, Wilms is back in there. I'm trying to work out. Grant's obviously at right wing back, then Hijikata up front, yeah. But it's more of a flat midfield 3, isn't it, with Taylor, Standerforth and Jean-Francois. I'm guessing it's Taylor higher of the 3. Again, I'm not watching the game. But I just think it's very difficult to pull off. And against a team like Tottenham, who are so good at pressing, it's very difficult to play a build-out with a back 3. I think unless your goalkeeper is incredibly comfortable on the ball and is able to sort of either push up into a centre-back position so you can build out as a 4 and also have the ability to go long, you do just struggle to play out. And against a Tottenham team, I mean, Tottenham are the best pressers in this league, I would say. So good. I mean, Man City, arguably, they're also very, very good. But in terms of a team building their team, but in terms of a team that's built on winning the ball high at the pitch and being a pressing team, Tottenham are absolutely that. I haven't spoken much about Chelsea with Liverpool, so apologies for that if that is what you are here for, which presumably you are, because that's the stream. But there's not too much to say from that first half. Chelsea were the better team. Once again, though, the chance creation was a little bit stagnant. I think there's too many players in the same positions at the moment because of the wing-backs pushing high. But, I mean, it's still been incredibly dominant. Liverpool have had 2 shots, 1 on target. They've not really got out and been able to hurt Chelsea. There's been moments where they've looked like they could threaten in behind. But I think with Berman and Germer, you've got enough pace there to be able to recover. And we've seen that low. I mean, Berman's been absolutely phenomenal. I think we haven't praised Berman enough this season. I don't think we've given enough credit to how she's come into this league and just, effortlessly looked brilliant. And I think it's overshadowed by the fact that Chelsea haven't been at the top level. You know, if they were playing like they were last season and Birmingham had come in, or like Man City are this season. I mean, the amount of people talking about Jade Rose, and Rose has been excellent, absolutely. But I think Birmann's been just as good. Obviously hasn't played as much, and obviously Chelsea haven't been at the same level, so you don't really get that. I don't think she's really been given her plaudits. But yeah, come into this league and just been really good. So yeah, I think that. Phil said, name a back three in team history back three team in history that had good success, men or women. It's not easy. Well, yeah, even if you think like Antonio Conte, Chelsea 2017, that season they were fantastic, but they only really went to the back three after November. It was brilliant for 6 months, and then the next season they were really poor and Conte got sacked. So there's not many teams where, you know, I mean, there aren't really any back threes that work over extended periods. So I think that is, you know, the problem for Arroyo is that it's going to be that adjustment. I mean, Vidicic came in and played a back three in his first season, right? And then this season we've started to see he's moved away from that to be a little bit, you know, different. And more towards sort of the tactical meta or the tactical norm at the moment. And I think Brighton become a much better side because of it. But yeah, I mean, I just think Aston Villa have been good in games, but yeah, I mean, I don't think Arroyo is the kind of coach who will be at the top level. Now maybe she'll adjust, but they've just been so inconsistent, Villa. Some weeks they're brilliant. I think against top sides, and in terms of coaching those individual games, they're really good. But yeah, I don't know. Caddy, welcome to the stream. So sorry to ask, but would it be bad if Sam Kerr caught her flight today? No need for her to be here for one more week. Guaranteed that Sonia doesn't rate her. Just sorry to see. I don't think it's guaranteed that Sonia doesn't rate her at all. I just don't think she's the right fit for what Chelsea are trying to do now with the system. I think she'll come on into this game in around the 70th minute, and you know, if she scores, she fulfills the function well. But I don't think she's the perfect fit for what Chelsea are trying to do at the moment. Maybe that shifts next season, but why would you change it now when it's been working? I mean, it's funny because the same people that complain that Sam Kerr isn't getting minutes now were complaining about Nuskin not getting minutes, and now Nuskin's getting minutes. That's a problem, but how do you play them both? Oh, Arsenal Brighton's been postponed. I'm hearing rumours. I'm now going to have to look at Twitter. I mean, the amount of people saying it would be incredible if you've managed to come together to convince me the game is off, but I will just double check. Is that at Meadow? Is that Arsenal at home or Brighton at home then? I mean, this is going to make Arsenal's schedule incredibly difficult in the next few weeks, I have to say, because they've got the game against Leicester to fit into the schedule. They now have this game as well, and that'll all come in that sort of March-April period where they've already got a lot of games. So it's at Crawley. Waterlogged pitch at the Broadfield Stadium. So there we go. Well, this will be the last stream then of the weekend. Apologies for anyone that was looking forward to. I mean, I don't know why I'm apologising. I haven't called the game off. Wow. So Brighton versus Arsenal has been postponed. If Harry is watching the stream, which I'm not sure if he will be yet, can we get that? Can we get the stream page taken down at some point? I don't know if I can do it very quickly. And we have now got to change for the second half. That's all right. Hopefully there's loads of people now waiting for Brighton Arsenal who quickly discover it's not happening. But yeah, we've still got another 45 minutes of action here to look forward to. So no worry, no bother that there isn't going to be a game afterwards. Ryzen says triple Arsenal game week at some point then. Well, it's going to fit in, presumably. There's a blank weekend in a week's time. I don't think they'll put it in there. There's a blank weekend in April. And obviously there's 2 blank weekends in April if they don't get through in the Champions League. But, I mean, that's a long way away, so we don't know what's going to happen there. Change for Liverpool there. Mia Enderby onto the field. Don't know who she's replaced just yet. Presumably that'll be one of the wide players. Alice Bergstrom, who makes way, obviously did get caught on. It could have been either the wingers really. They both had injuries right at the end of the half, but did get caught with Lauren James there. So that adds up. That potentially she's got a knock, and so Enderby on in that position, and Bronze on where? I'm intrigued. I don't see Lucy Bronze. I definitely saw her on the sidelines. And we are underway for the second half as Liverpool get us back underway here at Kingsmeadow. Foul going long. And picked off in midfield, well in there. Bronze for Baltimore. So yeah, presumably then Bronze right centre half, Germer into left centre half, and yeah, but Berman slotting into left back. So I think Chelsea are going to do what they did against Tottenham. Now, this is an interesting way to go about it. I think this will work though. So yeah, I like this. Good move from Bon Pastor, in my opinion. Clark trying to build out. Phil says there's a kick in the gut for us in terms of fixtures. Nice afternoon off for you though, Jack. I'm going to get bullied on Warzone. Have fun, Phil. Yeah, I mean, it's it'd be annoying now if it gets slotted in somewhere where I'm not available, where no one's available. Nagano playing it in behind, looking for Enderby. Nice move this from Liverpool. Who can she pick out with the pass? Goes back to Thomas. He's trying to create something here. Ball played into the box and claimed well by Hannah Hampton. Bergstrom's a big loss though for Liverpool. I think Enderby can come on and fill a function, but she's very similar to Holland in that she likes to come inside. And I think you lose a lot of creativity without Alice Bergstrom on the pitch. But yeah, so that'll be Arsenal with 2 games in hand. I mean, I think you'd rather... I always say you'd rather have the points than the fixtures. You'd rather have a win under your belt than have to go and get a result. Have to go and do something. So, yeah, I think that's that could be a bit of a problem for Arsenal. If they do get past Chelsea in the quarterfinals and they've got the semi-finals in there, they're going to have to play it probably in between those semi-finals in the midweek in April. That is not when you want to be playing a game of football, especially Brighton away on a midweek between semi-finals. So, yeah, it does complicate things for Arsenal domestically. Thompson trying to come forwards, nudged down there by Capox, and that is over the line, so it will be a Chelsea free kick. Berman into Walsh. Brainy asks, are UWSL quarterfinals in the midweek or weekend? Quarterfinals are midweek. Unfortunately, semi-finals are still weekend. I think they should change that. Walsh. Look at it play out, picked off there, high at the pitch. Here's Capox. Can she take aim? Poor effort from Cornelia Capox. I get why the semis are at weekends, because they want to get the family-friendly audience. But I remember going to the quarterfinals against Man City last season, and that was the best atmosphere I've ever seen at a women's game. Because you had, I get you want the game to appeal to young families and stuff, but it doesn't make for a great atmosphere. Ball down the left-hand side. Here's Thompson. Wants to drive it inside now and just ends up, it's flagged offside there. But yeah, I think what you got was a much more, an audience, an atmosphere, or a crowd, sorry, that wanted to get up for the game and wanted to, and really got behind the team. And it made for a fantastic match because, it really spurred the team on. They needed a result and the crowd were there and it was lively and I thought it was a fantastic atmosphere. I think with playing at the weekends, it was just a bit dead. You get a lot of day trippers. A lot of people that aren't, necessarily fans of either side just want to come and watch the game. Every Chelsea-Barcelona game, I get annoyed with people around me who just talk all the way through it about anything other than the game. And I get that there's an audience for that. But again, I think that's why, Chelsea specifically need to do a better job of sectioning their stands and have one for people that want to get the atmosphere going and have one for people who are just looking for something to do on a Saturday. But they don't market it well enough for me. Yeah, they don't section the stands out well enough. But yeah, Chelsea try to be direct there. Ball ran long again. Thompson just unable to get there. But yeah, Champions League quarterfinals end of March. Champions League semi-finals end of April, first weekend of May. And then, of course, the final is the 23rd of May, I believe, or 29th of May. I think it's 23rd of May. Holland carrying the ball forwards, knocks it out to the left-hand side. Bernabé now knocks it central, one back in there by Kira Walsh. 827 says, with you on that, I hate hearing how people chat about their week at work. I know, it annoys me so much. Carpenter. Pass inside now. Nagano finds Thomas. Takes aim, and it's saved well by Hampton. Liverpool had a lot of pot shots. I think it's, because they're not getting those opportunities. When they do get even a half chance, they're just firing in at goal, and I don't think that's the best way of trying to create an opportunity in this game. But they are I think, feeling frustrated by Chelsea in this match, which is important. That's the effect Chelsea should be having on opposition teams. And it says, could we not do it during the week of the Subway Cup final? Midweek, possibly. Ball in behind, and that's going to run through. I think it's probably too short notice now to arrange that. But yeah, I mean, that still isn't perfect, because Arsenal then would have games Saturday and then midweek consecutively for 3 weeks in a row. And you've got the Leicester game, which is probably going to could go in around the same sort of point. So you could end up with 5 weeks in a row of Arsenal women having to play Saturday, Wednesday. Incredibly taxing. A schedule that would be. All lumped long, and James flagged offside, and now just doing some keepy-uppies in no rush to restart the game. Nagano playing the pass, and Liverpool building out. Nagano back to Clark. Lifted out to the left-hand side for Fisk. And one back in there by Cuthbert, and now Carnreid carrying the ball forwards. Looking for support here, Joanna Ritten-Carnreid. Plays it inside to James. Lifting it over the top. And can't quite find Carnreid, and Fisk there. We'll see it out of play well. And Liverpool build out from the back. Paul says, football is dead. Sooner you realise, the better. It's not what it's supposed to be. To disagree. I think if you're talking about, if you're a TV viewer only of the Premier League, I completely agree. But I think for every other football fan, football's still incredible. Ball down the line. One back in there by Carpenter, who now goes back to Bronze. Now Germer. Berman down the line to Thompson, now back inside to Berman. German now across to Hampton. Riley asks, weird question, if Leicester City end up in the relegation playoff match, do you think they'll beat Charlton, or do you think they'll lose? It's unlikely they'd play Charlton, because I think Charlton will win the league at this point. But I think it would be very tight between a Bristol City, between a Birmingham, a Newcastle, even a Palace. I think would all give Leicester a very good game. Chelsea coming forwards now. Germer to the left-hand side. Can't quite find Berman. That's poked out of play. It looks like Chelsea are trying to do with Berman what they were doing last week, and they're not really dropping her quite as deep as I would have wanted, or building quite as natural a back three. I mean, she is deeper than Carpenter, which is kind of what we wanted to see, but yeah. Hampton looking long. James dropped in, just creating that space. There's Hampton, pings that ball forwards. Thompson will get there. Chelsea yet to have a shot in this second half. Thompson gets around Shimizu. Can she play the ball across the box? Great recovery from Shimizu to get back in and block the delivery. So a corner out for Chelsea. Cuthbert over this. It looks like Chelsea are going to go into the box this time. Liverpool blocking those short options. Cuthbert delivers it in towards the front post. Fisk heads away, and that's too far away from Walsh to have another shot from the edge of the box. Walsh and James exchanging. James back into Walsh. Here's Cuthbert. Phil says, I'd back Leicester, but I don't think it would be a mismatch. James lifting over the top, and that will bounce or that'll run through and out for a goal kick. Well, exactly. I think in terms of quality, Leicester aren't much above what the WSL2 is at now, what those top sides are. And I think if you're thinking about a side who've had a really successful campaign, which is the point they finished third in the division below, so, they've won a decent amount of games, compared to a Leicester side who will have won a handful, and be going into that in a bit of poor form, there's every chance that WSL2 side with that confidence, and if they've got the better quality potentially, if it is someone like a Bristol City or a Birmingham, I think that would be very close. Kapox. Shimizu trying to play it to the right-hand side. That runs out of play. That'll be another Chelsea throw. But yeah, I think it would be very close. Still haven't got a date for that game either. Or at least I don't think it's been announced officially when that game's going to be played. We're looking through doing the calendar for the rest of the season. And yeah, no one has any idea when that's going to be played. It would be so WSL to end up putting it on the same day as like the Champions League final. Bronze. Tries to knock it in behind. Headed on in there by Woodham. Carpenter into James. That'll be offside again. I'm also not 100% sure if it's been officially announced who will host it. I presume it'll be the WSL team that hosts the game. But it could, I can't see them using a neutral venue. So you'd assume it would be the WSL team. Berman picks up on the loose ball. Thompson. Liverpool are just struggling to play out in this game. Chelsea have done a much better job of penning them in. Hampton. Walsh. Walsh under pressure here. Pokes it back to Hannah Hampton. Chelsea building out again. Lovely direct pass and the referee intercepts. And that would have gone into Lauren James. So it will be Chelsea's drop ball. Ella says, do you think City are only playing well this season because they don't have UWCL? As always, I mean, I saw a debate about this the other day and it made me laugh. But as always, it's more nuanced than that. I mean, it has an impact, but and I think the only reason it's had a bigger impact than usual is because that City team is a team that could compete for the league anyway. So on top of having a really good team, having no Champions League football does give them an advantage over the rest of the teams in the league. Cut back there from Carpenter, blocked well, and that'd be a Chelsea corner. For example, if Arsenal or United don't get Champions League football, or Chelsea don't get Champions League football, well, probably not Chelsea, but if Arsenal United don't get Champions League football, I don't think, I don't look at next season and go, oh, yeah, they're going to win the league then. Just automatically. There's every chance they do, and they have a great summer, and they put themselves in that position. But I don't necessarily think they've got the squad, whereas, City, they had Hasegawa, Shaw, Hemp, Kasperai, all these fantastic footballers. As I said, Hasegawa again. She might as well be on there twice. Brilliant footballer. Ball into the box, headed by Bronze. Trickles wide of the post, and that is a Liverpool goal kick. But yeah, so it's a combination of factors. The fact that it's Jeglert's first season as well. He's come in, he's done something new, and teams are still adjusting to it. It's a combination of factors, as with most things. It's not as easy as, they're Champions League, which they're going to win the league. So yeah. First, I think Larkin and Blanchard would get into the Leicester side and be two of their better players. I think Weirden would get into that Leicester team. I can't remember who else is at Leicester, Crystal Palace anymore. I haven't watched much. I haven't watched enough WSL2 this season, to be honest. It's difficult when they all clash with WSL games. Free kick for Chelsea. Berman goes back into Germer. And now across to Bronze, who opens up the body and goes to the right-hand side. Carpenter inside to Cuthbert, who lifts it over the top. And Carnery battling away for possession. Poked out a play well by Grace Fisk. Laura says, Arsenal now at a disadvantage for future games, especially Champions League, if they get past Chelsea. Considering the conditions they played in versus Real last season, the pitch at Brighton must be flooded. Well, yeah, I imagine so. It's Crawley Stadium. They won't have the necessarily have the facilities to deal with it. But yeah. Arsenal schedule, they've been unlucky with the scheduling. I mean, part of that's the FIFA Champions Cup, the world's most pointless competition. Carpenter back to Germer under pressure from Thomas, who wins the ball high at the pitch. Germer battling back in, and Bronze makes the crucial challenge. And Germer now can play out into Cuthbert, and there's space for Chelsea to attack into. Switch to the left-hand side. Great ball into Thompson. Her touch is good. Gets away from Shimizu. Nagano, though, able to win it back. And this game's become quite end-to-end all of a sudden. O'Sullivan carrying the ball forwards for Liverpool. Enderby. Slipping it into O'Sullivan, and Germer on hand to knock it out of play. And as we cross over towards, or as we get towards the hour mark here, Chelsea still leading by only 1-0. I think they need a second goal soon. Liverpool are starting to just grow in belief that they can get back into this one. Clumsy that from Villa Berman. And that'll be a Liverpool free kick in a decent position. Wasn't much need to put the two hands on the back there. And it sees Berman penalised. An opportunity here for Liverpool to threaten from this one. And so, Enderby going into the box, and Liverpool now will try and make something happen here. And so it's Holland over this. Ball delivered in. Not a bad delivery towards the back post. And that just caught the head of Fisk. But goes the wrong direction. Kana just to knock it past Bernabé. It hits Bernabé. That'll be a Chelsea throw deep in their own corner. Chelsea looking to progress up the line. Have another look at that free kick. Just a bit too deep. They tried to head it back across the box, I think. But it just seemed to be on top of the head of Clark and Fisk in there at the back post. Not a bad, I think it was the right idea, but just a slightly or slightly overhit delivery. Schmitz inside to Kapox, to Thomas now. It was up space for the shot. And well, the shot is a kind way of describing that action. Thomas not able to threaten the goal really with that effort. But Liverpool have been the better side second half. Chelsea have had a lot of the ball. But I just haven't killed this game off. Just haven't quite killed this game. I've had a few matches where they've come forwards and it's just not quite clicked yet. Especially Thompson in behind just hasn't quite got that ball under her control. Carpenter flicking it forward. James trying to get it under her control. Fisk wins it back though. Nagano chased down by Cuthbert. Now Fisk. And James will put the pressure on. I wonder if Chelsea will make changes soon. Just look to bring in a Sam Kerr for a bit, something different up front. Thompson wins that loose ball. Nusken now. Kapox commits the foul. Nusken shrugs her off though. Nagano gets involved. Walsh on hand to recycle. Thompson outnumbered. Goes back to Berman and Chelsea can move possession from the left to the right. Here's Bronze. Out now to Carpenter. Goes down the line. Carnareid, fantastic move there to get past Bernabé. Can she find the cutback? Goes to Lauren James who takes aim and that's just wide. Wasn't able to set that, just had to redirect the ball there, Lauren James. And just can't quite find the far corner. It's just pinged to her by Carnareid. And she just tries to stab at it, redirect it towards goal. And Liverpool building out from the back. Here's Falk. Happy to just stand on the ball, and Chelsea not putting any immediate pressure on it. Ball goes into the feet of Thomas. And Bronze does enough. Walsh then on hand to pick up the ball, and Carpenter turns and goes back to Hampton, who also is happy just to stand on the ball. Nusken. Germer. Back to Hampton, who goes to the right-hand side. Bronze. Now Walsh down the line into Carnareid. Who can't quite get that out of her feet. And returns it to Lucy Bronze. James in midfield. Driving the ball forwards, Lauren James. Brilliant work. Now knocks it wide to Berman, who goes back to James on the edge of the 18-yard box. Drives now into the penalty area. Cuts inside, takes aim. And that is simply magnificent from Lauren James. Picks up the ball on the edge of the 18-yard box. Drives inside with purpose. And unleashes a venomous effort to the front post. Brilliant from James. Vintage from Lauren James. Cuts inside with danger and finishes with poise and power. Chelsea 2, Liverpool 0. Really important goal. Really important goal. Not only in the context of this game, but in the context of Lauren James's season. Chelsea needed a second goal to kill this game off. And as I mentioned earlier, it felt like James needed a goal. James needed a goal to break that duck. Hasn't scored enough this season. Has spent a long time out injured. This, though, showing what she can do. Cuts inside brilliantly. Falk, no chance. Brilliant from Lauren James. Nagano can't keep with her and finishes down the tightest corridor of space. Simply brilliant from Lauren James. It's Chelsea 2, Liverpool 0. And Chelsea will hope to see the game out from here. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And just her second goal this season. And what a magnificent one it was. Bay says, I'm late. What's going on? The Brighton Arsenal game? It's been postponed due to a waterlogged pitch. A change as well for Chelsea. Sam Kerr onto the field. And Jonah Ritten-Carnareid withdrawn. So presumably James will move to the right wing. Or it might be Thompson who moves to the right wing. Not 100% sure there. And Chelsea going for a more out-and-out striker with Kerr. Here's Thompson who moves to the right wing. Ball in behind looking for Kerr. Headed down by Fisk. Thompson picks up on the ball. Now Cuthbert. Thompson. Carpenter. Blocked well by Bernabé. And that's out for a Chelsea throw. Yes, as LJ. Brilliant work and goal. Absolutely. Showing her quality. Reminding us all what she can do. Utterly brilliant from Lauren James. Carpenter. Drives the ball backwards. Now Bronze, slipping it through the lines. Cuthbert puts it in there, headed away by Shimizu. And Cuthbert can't quite create anything from that right-hand side. And it's out for a Chelsea throw. Cuthbert back to Bronze. Cuthbert, Carpenter, back to Cuthbert. And now Bronze carrying the ball back to goalkeeper, Hampton. Down the line. Walsh trying to slip it there into Sam Kerr. One back well, though, by Bernabé, who stepped into midfield to win it back. O'Sullivan knocked off the ball by Bronze. O'Sullivan's another one who I think is a really technically gifted midfielder, but you can tell, similar to Germa, hasn't played in the WSL. Doesn't have that physicality to play in the WSL yet. We saw it. I mean, it's fine in sort of the week against sides lower in the division, but to play top level football or to compete with the elite clubs, we saw it in the United game. Got bullied by Ziggy Otiolma. I think she's just struggled again with the physicality today, especially when you're up against Cuthbert. It's going to be heightened. But yeah, I think she's really struggled to deal with the strength of Chelsea's midfield. Shimizu into Thomas. Good hold up. Nagano. Now Kapox. Knocks it wide. Here's Enderby. Now Shimizu. Back to Clark. Feeds it through the lines. Picked off by James, who's going to knock Kerr in behind here. She could have shot from that angle. Still going though, Sam Kerr. And one back in there by Grace Fisk. I think she could have taken that early shot. Falk was off her line. I think she should have taken the risk there. At 3-0, there's no reason why not to. Nagano through the lines. Germa does well there to muscle off Thomas. And yeah, I just wonder if she could have just opened up her body and fired this here, Sam Kerr. She wanted to take on Fisk, and obviously if she had got past her and released Thompson, Thompson would have been in a great position to score. But I think Kerr, on top of her game, just takes that, dinks it over the goalkeeper from range. Laura says, LJ return, good news for Lionesses. I hope she's nowhere near that squad. I hope she's nowhere near, because she will play 180 minutes and then will get injured again. I just think that it's not an important game. I know it's a World Cup qualifier, but Chelsea, England should be able to get through those without having to play Lauren James, and especially get through those without having to play Lauren James 180 minutes. But if you let her go on England international duty, she will play 180 minutes. Like, Wiegman will run her into the ground. Absolutely not. Chelsea should make up any reason. James has got a birthday party that weekend. She's going tobogganing in Peru. She's scuba diving. She's injured. Anything you want to say to Wiegman, just don't let her go to the England squad. Absolutely not. Aston Villa got a goal back in that game. Could start to get a little bit tasty there. Aston Villa 2, Tottenham 3, Orange Jean-Francois. And Tottenham, well, they need to hold on for an important win. Nusken slipping it into Kerr. Chance for Chelsea now. Can Kerr finish off on her left foot? Can't quite open up the angle and fires it straight at Falk. And as soon as Villa get a goal back into the game, apparently Tottenham have got a fourth. Tamberg with a screamer. What on earth is going on in that match? Back-to-back goals there. So that is Villa 2, Tottenham 4. And apparently, Football hasn't quite updated it yet. Comes as Jade Riviere picked up bad injury. I'm surprised that she's playing in that game. I'd have played Lundqvist. I think they've benched Janssen though, haven't they? Which is annoying because I brought her in Aerial Fantasy. They're giving Turner. Turner's got her first start of the season, or first start for a long while. Enderby. Can she make happen down the right-hand side? Gets around Byrne. Byrne makes the challenge, and Hampton able to pick up the ball. Hermie says, it's frustrating to see Lauren James constantly overused, pushed to her limits, and then criticised when she inevitably picks up an injury. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think it's such a shame that she's not better managed. I mean, think about what we've seen with Reece James, how many injuries he's picked up. You'd think, I mean, we've seen Lauren James pick up sort of similar issues. It's been really well managed by Chelsea men's to just be a little bit more conservative. But, yeah. Because United have no option, really. Illness and injuries, apparently. Oh, is there no Lundqvist? Well, Lundqvist and Janssen have both come on. They could have started. No Cole. Cole doesn't stop you starting. But that would be a big concern if Riviere is out. Oh yeah, they've got nothing on their bench to bring on for Jade Riviere. They've already made their subs. That is a problem if that is an issue for Riviere. Lauren James plays it out to the right-hand side. Here's Carpenter. Now Cuthbert. Back to Bronze. Now Walsh. Cuthbert. Bronze. Cuthbert again. Thompson knocks it down the line. Here's Carpenter chopping inside, looking to take on Grace Fist, then goes back outside. Bernabé gets back in, and that has come off Carpenter for a Liverpool throw-in. And Tottenham have a fifth in that game. Aston Villa 2, Tottenham 5. With the way the results are happening, I'm not sure what order we're going to do the weekend roundup. Luckily, with no Arsenal game, we're going to have a little bit more time to talk about all the games. But crazy results. I mean, other than Everton West Ham, where there was a goal in the 8th minute, and then, by the looks of it, nothing has happened since then. But yeah. Versus England set up a bad for it. Bronze, Williamson, Kelly and LJ almost way too much football this season due to internationals. Yeah, it's difficult. Changed, by the way, Lexi Potter on for Kira Walsh. Nice to see her involved again. And Liverpool brought on Aurelie Silag for Martha Thomas. It's difficult because players need to be told no. Because a player is always going to push their body to the limits because they want to play for their country and stuff. But yeah, I think the problem for England was you've got a lot of players there who are sort of at the end of their international cycle and wanted to go out with a bang and win something, right? So that, I get it to an extent, but yeah, that has really cost them. It cost certain teams this season. And I mean, Arsenal and Chelsea, because they've got so many Lionesses, have had to deal with that sort of fatigue and the knock-on effect from the European Championships. Another advantage of Man City having just only Japanese players is that they don't have the Euros, but they will have the Asian Cup next month. Cuthbert, Germer, now Bronze. Ball down the line. Thompson can't quite keep that under her control. That's out for a Liverpool throw. It's not been Thompson's best game today, I have to say. I mean, she's not been, terrible. I just don't, hasn't really shined. It's one of the, I think it's a game where perhaps she wasn't able to show her best stuff. I think that combination with Baltimore didn't really work that well, and obviously James coming across as well. It's quite a crowded area, and a game where James has absolutely thrived, just pulling apart that Liverpool midfield. Her movement's been elite. Lifts it in behind again, and Kerr's in now for Chelsea. Holds it up, lays it off to Nusken, who pokes it wide now for Thompson. Thompson, ball in. Kerr now. Cleared away by Shimizu. Cuthbert looking to keep it alive on the edge and will get there despite Holland's best efforts. Carpenter to Thompson. Slips it in behind. Carpenter, ball in. And Kerr there, I think, meeting it but unable to make anything of it. Kerr complains that she didn't actually get a touch on that, but yeah. That will be a goal kick. Okay, don't know how much of a touch he got on the initial bit. Just sliced at it and missed the ball. That could have been 3 there. Foul goes direct. Silag muscled off well by Bronze. Berman, who's probably been, one of the best players on the pitch for Chelsea. Actually, phenomenal performance, winning it back there. Thompson. Cuthbert battling for possession, one back by Nagano, who is barreled down by Alyssa Thompson. That will be a Liverpool free kick. Ball through the lines now for Capox. Picked off well by Potter. Out towards Thompson. And Clark winning it back in defence. Liverpool now can build out from this position. And it's back to Risa Shimizu. Clark plays it inside. Back now to Fisk. Holland. One back by James. And now Chelsea can play out from this position. Berman. Germer. Bronze. Finding Lauren James. Hampton. James again. Playing it wide to Germer. James, who's splitting the centre halves at the moment. She's been everywhere in this game. Great challenge from Lauren James. Yale says Kerr is better when starting than off the bench. We look at the chances compared to before. I mean, yeah, but this is the problem, right? I don't think Kerr's really good at creating the movement, but what we're seeing is that Kerr isn't, the player that she once was. She's great at making that run in behind, but she's not quite she's not quite ready. And I think this is the thing: is as much as we want to see Sam Kerr back to her best, I think it is going to take a bit of time. Her touch just isn't quite as crisp as it needs to be, and there are just small aspects of her game that aren't quite there. The pace, obviously, as we'd expect after a long injury, isn't quite there. James picking up a yellow card for an innocuous foul on Mia Enderby. Kevin says, Layla Drury, age 16, on for United. Well, kind of a forced injury, that, isn't it? Because they don't have any options. I'm guessing someone slotted in at right back then, yeah. They, well, to be fair, they did put Janssen in midfield, so they can put her back to defence and piece together some sort of defensive line. Data says, maybe this is why she hasn't been starting. Well, yeah, I think she just doesn't look the same level that she once was. She's come back midway through a season, well, sort of at the start of the season, but midway through, she wasn't able to start in pre-season and get those minutes. I don't think she's the player that she was. I don't know if it's that she's rusty or whether she just isn't ever going to get back to that level. I think she deserves a pre-season, though. I think, her contributions to Chelsea deserve her another campaign. So I would give her pre-season and sort of reintegrate her from there. But yeah. Manchester United lead London City then by 2-1. And, a 77th minute winner as it stands. Millie Turner with the header in that game. A goal and assist from Turner on a return. Ball into the box, and that's into the side netting. That's an incredible haul for anyone that's got her in aerial fantasy. Would be an odd decision to have her in aerial fantasy when she hasn't been able to play for ages. But if you do still have her, goal and assist. And Villa have got another goal in that game. What on earth is going on there? Absolutely crazy game. Aston Villa 3, Tottenham 5. So yeah, we'll find out who scored that one in a moment. Chelsea building out again. Bronze looking to play long, trying to find Alyssa Thompson, who's able to keep it onto the field of play. Back now to Fisk, who's under pressure from Kerr and just squeezes it to Shimizu. And now Falk can clear her lines well. And it's Kirsty Hansen again for Aston Villa. Scoring. Nuskin battling for possession, cleared away only as far as Potter. Now Berman. Into James, combines with Beaver Jones, slipping it in behind, looking for Erin Cuthbert, picked up well by Falk. Ball forwards into Holland. Carpenter does enough there to get on her back, and that's been given as a free kick, bit of a soft one. Dolph Mancy says maybe Thompson is fatigued. She doesn't try to end line anymore. She never shoots. She just passes it back to Baltimore, runs into the box. It's very odd. I don't think this is a perfect setup for her where, on both sides, she played in the first half with Baltimore, who obviously holds the width. And then on the second half, for all the second half, actually. Oh, no, sorry, once Kirk came on, she moved to the right. She's then played with Carpenter, who likes to get wide. So you end up in a situation where she's not really, it's quite crammed in that position, especially on the left, because James was drifting wide as well. It wasn't quite working. But yeah, what on earth is happening at Villa Tottenham? We will never know. We'll look forward to watching that one back again as well. But yeah, crazy match. And yeah, what a mental afternoon for football. Letitia assisting that goal as well for Turner. Changes again. Cornelia Capox making way. Kirsten McLean on for Liverpool, and for Chelsea, it was Vika Kaptein coming into midfield to replace Sjoka Nusken, and Beaver Jones onto the right-hand side for Alyssa Thompson. So yeah, not long to go here. Chelsea, I think, just trying to shut down and see this game out. Header won by Potter. Kerr holds it up well. James. All the way back to her goalkeeper, Hampton. Tries to feed out to the right-hand side. That's misplaced, though. That will be a Liverpool throw-in on the far side. And in that game between Tottenham and Aston Villa, there's still goals going in as Tottenham have a 6th of the match. What a open end-to-end fixture that has become. Lindvilm setting up Kirsty Hansen. Tandberg again with that goal. 6-3 Tottenham. Mental. Ball looking for already Silag now. Germa stands her up out wide to Enderby, and Berman will engage. Trying to make something happen here. Nogano feeding Silag. Plays the ball across the box and poked wide. And that'll be a Chelsea goal kick. And do ignore any notifications for the Brighton Arsenal game. We will not be live for that. It's not happening anymore. That game postponed due to a waterlogged pitch. Once we're finished here, I will obviously take that one down. We will not be will not be live for a game that isn't happening. But yeah, Berman back to Hampton. Chelsea can build out once again. Great hold up there from Lexi Potter. Trying to carry it forwards. Poor foul from Nagano. Could go into the book for this one. I think the referee may opt for just a discussion though. Nagano just bringing down Lexi Potter. Here's Bronze. Now ball played long by Hampton. Bouncing around. There's one high up the pitch. Potter. Carpenter driving it inside. Trying to lift it through. Back to Carpenter now. Carrying it towards the left. James. Wide to Berman. And now Captain. Pass back into Germer. Bronze. And it's 7-3 Tottenham. Thanks to the chat for the updates. Yuri Blackstad from a corner. Bloody hell. What on earth has happened to Aston Villa and Roebuck? By the sounds of it, not having a great day. I mean, any goalkeeper conceding 7 goals is not a great day. Cuthbert lifts it in behind and the flag's up there against Sam Kerr. And yeah, Tottenham, 7 goals in that match. It's still not over. Yuri Blackstad assisted by Matilda Wimberg. Everyone's getting in on the action there. That's Tottenham. I mean, both goalkeepers haven't exactly covered themselves in glory. And yeah, join us tomorrow as we'll be breaking down all the action in the weekend roundup. Lots to discuss now. We'll obviously only have 5 games on the docket, but I mean, a lot of action. And we'll also talk about Everton West Ham. James. Through to Captain. Trying to dribble it out from there. One back by Liverpool, Enderby. Picked off high here by Potter. Captain slips it in behind to Beaver Jones. Who tries to play it in there. Cleared away. And Holland looking it clear. And out of play. Bronze. Lifts it into Carpenter, who just tries to nod it on. Bernabé clears it straight into Carpenter. Now Beaver Jones. Can Chelsea find a third here? Captain. Carpenter battling away for possession. Of course, a decision for tonight. Lord of the Rings trilogy or the Spurs Villa highlights. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a long one. James. Twisting and turning here. Can she beat Mia Enderby? Still coming forwards, Lauren James. Great footwork. Takes Telfs to the touchline. Ball towards the back post. Bounces through. Carpenter, can she finish? Rolls it. Can't quite get the shot that she would have wanted away there. Great footwork from Lauren James down the left-hand side. And Beaver Jones just couldn't quite meet it. And Carpenter not able to find the finishing touch either. Clark. Holland. Shimizu inside to Kerry Holland. And back to Clark. And yeah, goals across the league. It's been I mean, outside of the Tottenham Villa game, it's been a fairly low scoring Sunday. With 2 games by a 1-goal margin. Chelsea leading by 2-0. And then Tottenham with a 4-goal margin, winning 7-3. Ball into the box. That will bounce through without issue to Hannah Hampton. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure we're all looking forward to watching whatever happened there between Tottenham and Aston Villa. Bronze, Carpenter, Beaver Jones. Now Bronze. I mean, they can probably compensate for the lack of action in West Ham Everton by having like a 15-minute highlights for Tottenham Villa and then 5 minutes at best, whatever's happened at Everton West Ham. But yeah, all right, play the match then, because we're into added time now. We don't know actually how much added time there is going to be. But play the match. It's obviously Lauren James, isn't it? It's really, I mean, it's not rocket science. Absolutely phenomenal today. But I'll also shout out Villa Bowman. I thought Villa Bowman was excellent in this match. 3 minutes of additional time, echoing the first half then. I've clicked on extra time rather than added time. There we go. Schmitzu back to Clark. Ball around the corner to Enderby. Now it's the left-hand side from Liverpool. Holland, Bernabei. Trying to carry that ball forwards. Forced back now to Fisk. Ball forwards, nowhere there for Sullivan to go. Shamdale says, Freya has to get a cap this coming international break. Probably through just necessity, because there is, like, can you call up Chloe Kelly when she's barely played? Serena probably still will, but she hasn't really played to deserve it. James shouldn't be playing. Give her rest. She doesn't need to play against Iceland and who else are we playing in the international break? Is it Spain? I feel like it's always Spain. But yeah, no, I can't remember who we're playing. It's World Cup qualifiers, I know that much. Ukraine and Iceland. We don't face Spain to the next break. We always have Spain. Ball forwards. It's headed on by Silag. Headed out of play. Just take a touch of a Chelsea player though. So that will be a Liverpool corner looking to spoil Chelsea's clean sheet right at the end here. And Liverpool setting up then this corner. This will likely be the last action of the game. But yeah, so winnable games for England. Long James shouldn't be anywhere near the pitch. Ball in, headed away well by Bronze on the line. James will saunter out to it, lifts it over the top to Captine, who plays it down the line to Carpenter, who plays it at Baggy Beaver Jones. He's unable to get it under her control. And now a ball in behind, looking to pin Enderby. That'll run through to Hampton. And that will likely be it as Hampton does some keepy-uppies. And that is the full-time whistle here at Kingsmeadow. What a win for Chelsea. A dominant performance, really. Lauren James back to her best, or close to her best, you have to say. A goal and assist for her today. Involved in almost everything positive for the Blues. Good defensive display as well. Liverpool never really looked like scoring in this match, and Chelsea claim a really important victory as in their hunt for European football. United, with that last or that late winner, do stay second in the league, but a win for Chelsea is important, especially in a weekend where Arsenal are out of action due to that game being postponed. But yeah, I was really impressed with Chelsea. I think that's much closer to the level that we would want to see. A clean sheet's really important as well. We haven't seen Chelsea keep a clean sheet now for a few weeks. Important to get that level back. Important to play well. Actually have a really impressive performance. So yeah, very happy with that one. But yeah, Chelsea now 4 points ahead of Arsenal. Arsenal granted with 2 games in hand, but that's going to come in a busy schedule. Certainly not the situation that Arsenal would want to have. Good show from Chelsea, especially with the depleted side. A few players back from injury as well. They've got 1 game for the international break. They'll be hoping they can get a few players back over that period. United, though, next weekend, the FA Cup round of 16 stage is a big game. Join us for that one live. That, though, is it for this weekend. We're back tomorrow with the weekend roundup. We're back on Wednesday and Thursday this week as we get into the Champions League knockout playoff round second legs. And we're back next weekend with Women's FA Cup action. So yeah, very excited for that. That's it though for today's show. Hope you have enjoyed. Very enjoyable game. Chelsea winning 2-0. Thanks everyone that's tuned in this afternoon. And unfortunately, we won't be joining you live for Arsenal versus Brighton because it'll just be me and Harry guessing what isn't happening. So yeah, we're not going to be live for that one. We will be back next week though. And yeah, that's all. Video coming Monday. If you haven't, no, not Monday. Sorry, don't know why I've said that. Video coming Wednesday. Don't expect anything on Monday. And if you haven't checked out the videos from this week already, go and check those out as well. That was everything. Thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.